Let us begin in a place of quiet streets and sturdy homes. The year is 1952, in a suburb called Park Ridge, just outside of Chicago. The air is clean and carries the scent of freshly cut grass from wide lawns. The houses are mostly built of brick, solid and dependable, with neat front porches and shaded windows. On one of these streets, on Wisner Street, a young girl named Hillary Rodham grows up. She lives in a two-story home with her parents and two younger brothers. The neighborhood is a tapestry of post-war optimism, where children play outside until the streetlights flicker on. The Rodham house is a world of its own. The living room is furnished with comfortable chairs and a sofa, where the family gathers in the evenings. A lamp with a soft, yellow glow sits on an end table, casting gentle shadows across the patterned carpet. Bookshelves line one wall, filled with volumes that invite quiet exploration. In the kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator mixes with the sound of a radio playing faintly in the background. It is a place of routine and warmth, where meals are shared at a sturdy wooden table. Hillary's father, Hugh, leaves each morning for his drapery business. He believes in hard work and self-reliance. Her mother, Dorothy, creates a nurturing home, encouraging curiosity and resilience. The backyard is a sanctuary of simple pleasures. A large elm tree stands sentinel, its leaves rustling in the breeze. In the summer, the family might set up a picnic blanket on the grass, the light dappled through the branches above. It is here that a young Hillary first learns to observe the world, to read under the tree's canopy, and to listen to the stories of her neighbors. The changing seasons mark the rhythm of life in Park Ridge. Autumn brings a cascade of crimson and gold leaves, which children rake into large piles, their laughter echoing in the crisp air. Winter covers the streets in a blanket of white, muting all sound. Hillary walks to school, her breath forming little clouds, past houses with smoke curling from their chimneys. Spring arrives with the gentle rain, washing the sidewalks clean and bringing forth tulips and daffodils in carefully tended garden beds. Each season paints the suburb in a different, peaceful hue. On Sundays, the Rodham family attends the First United Methodist Church. The building is made of stone with tall, arched windows that let in streams of colored light. The interior is quiet and cool, with rows of polished wooden pews. The sound of a hymn on the organ fills the space, a slow and comforting melody. It is a place of community and reflection, where values of service and faith are quietly instilled. After the service, people gather outside, talking softly under the clear blue sky. Hillary's elementary school, Eugene Field School, is a red brick building with wide steps leading to its entrance. Inside, the classrooms are bright, with large windows overlooking the playground. Desks are arranged in neat rows, and the blackboard at the front is cleaned each afternoon. The smell of chalk dust and polished floors is a familiar one. Here, she is a diligent student, her hand often raised to answer a question. The school day ends with the ringing of a brass bell, and students spill out into the afternoon sun, their voices a cheerful chorus. Evenings in the Rodham home are a time for homework and quiet pursuits. In her room, Hillary might sit at a small desk by the window, completing her assignments as the daylight fades. The room is simple, with floral wallpaper and a bedspread. A model of the solar system might hang from the ceiling, turning slowly in a draft. Downstairs, the television glows with the evening news, a window into a larger world beyond Park Ridge. But in this moment, all is calm. The house settles for the night, a peaceful haven in the heart of mid-century America. The scene shifts to New England, to a campus of rolling green hills and serene lakes. It is the autumn of 1965. Wellesley College sits amidst a beautiful landscape, its Gothic and collegiate Gothic buildings crafted from stone, covered in ivy that turns fiery red with the season. Lake Waban reflects the sky and the surrounding trees, its surface perfectly still in the early morning. A young woman, now Hillary Rodham, walks along a winding path, her arms full of books. The air is cool and carries the scent of fallen leaves and damp earth. Tower Court, one of the residence halls, is her new home. Its common room is a spacious area with large stone fireplaces, comfortable armchairs, and leaded glass windows. In the evening, students gather here to study or talk, the fire crackling softly, casting a warm, dancing light on the walls. Hillary's own room is modest, with a view of the quadrangle. A desk lamp illuminates pages of political theory and history texts late into the night. The sound of a typewriter's keys clicks steadily, a rhythm of diligent work. The academic halls, like Pendleton Hall, are sanctuaries of learning. Sunlight streams through tall windows into high-ceilinged classrooms, illuminating dust motes in the air. Professors lecture at wooden podiums, and students take notes in thick binders. The library is a particular haven, a vast space filled with the quiet rustle of pages and the rich smell of old paper and leather. Carrels provide private nooks where one can get lost in thought, surrounded by the accumulated knowledge of centuries. It is a world designed for deep reflection and intellectual growth. Beyond the classroom, the campus itself is a character. In spring, the green is vibrant and flowers bloom in carefully tended beds. Students sit on blankets on the lawn, discussing their hopes for the future. Hillary becomes involved in student government, finding her voice in meetings held in sunlit rooms. The discussions are earnest, about civil rights, about the role of women, about the tumultuous world beyond Wellesley's gates. Yet, even in debate, there is a collegiate respect, a shared pursuit of understanding that tempers the passion. The changing light of day defines the campus mood. Mornings often begin with a mist rising from the lake, shrouding the buildings in a soft, gray veil. As the sun climbs, it burns away the fog, revealing the stunning clarity of the landscape. Afternoons are golden, the light slanting through the arches of the college gate. Evenings are for quiet walks around the lake, the water turning to a sheet of dark glass under the twilight sky, punctuated by the lights of distant dormitories. Graduation arrives in the spring of 1969. The ceremony is held outdoors, under a bright, clear sky. Hundreds of young women in white dresses sit in neat rows on the green, their black gowns waiting. The sound of the processional music floats on the breeze. Hillary, as the first student commencement speaker, approaches the podium. She looks out at the sea of faces, at the proud families, at the familiar towers of her alma mater. Her words speak of possibility and responsibility. But in this visual memory, the moment is silent, a tableau of accomplishment and transition, bathed in the gentle, hopeful light of a New England spring. The journey now leads south to a land of rolling hills and wide rivers. Arkansas in the 1970s is a place of profound natural beauty. The air is warmer, thicker with the scent of pine and magnolia blossoms. Hillary Rodham arrives here, following a path of the heart, to be with a young law professor and aspiring politician named Bill Clinton. The landscape is softer than the north, the light filtered through a canopy of dense green leaves. Little Rock, the capital city, sits on the banks of the Arkansas River, its pace slower, its streets lined with old oak trees. Their first home together is a small, unassuming house on the edge of the city. It is a place of beginnings, filled with second-hand furniture and stacks of law books. The back porch looks out onto a tangle of native shrubs and trees, a haven for birds. In the early morning, mist rises from the ground, and the world is quiet except for the chorus of insects and birdsong. Hillary tends to a small garden, learning the feel of the southern soil, the way the light falls differently here, more golden and languid. As Bill Clinton enters politics, their lives become centered in the governor's mansion. The mansion is a grand, white-columned building nestled in a quiet neighborhood. Its interior is elegant, but lived in, with high ceilings and tall windows that let in generous amounts of light. The sunroom is a favorite spot, filled with wicker furniture and potted plants, a perfect place for reading the newspaper on a Sunday morning. The formal gardens behind the mansion are meticulously kept, with rows of roses and boxwood hedges, a serene escape from public life. Hillary finds her own calling in Arkansas, focusing on children's welfare and education reform. She spends days in quiet state government offices, reviewing documents and meeting with advocates. The rooms are often utilitarian, with fluorescent lights and linoleum floors, but the work is purposeful. She also travels the state, visiting schools in small towns. In one such school, sunlight pours into a classroom through large windows, illuminating small desks and colorful student artwork on the walls. She sits with teachers, listening intently, her notes spread on a wooden table. The natural world of Arkansas provides constant solace. Weekends might find the Clintons hiking in the Ouachita Mountains, the path dappled with shade, the sound of a distant creek accompanying their steps. Or they might drive to Hot Springs, the historic town nestled in a forested valley, where the morning steam rises naturally from the ground. These moments away from the spotlight are simple and grounding, filled with the quiet beauty of the American South. At the end of the day, the governor's mansion settles into a peaceful calm. In a private study, a single lamp glows on a desk piled with papers and a few family photographs. The light catches the gilt edges of book spines on the shelves. Outside, the cicadas begin their evening song, a rhythmic soundtrack to the deepening blue of the twilight sky. From the window, one can see the silhouette of magnolia trees against the last light of day. It is a portrait of a life built in partnership, rooted in a particular place and its gentle rhythms. We move now to Washington, to the most famous residence in America. The White House in the 1990s is both a global symbol and a family home. For Hillary Clinton, now First Lady, it is a place of history and daily life intertwined. The building itself is majestic, its white facade glowing under the sun or softly illuminated against the night sky. The South Lawn is a vast, green expanse where the shadows of ancient trees stretch long in the afternoon. Inside, the scale is grand, but the private quarters on the second floor are a world apart. The yellow oval room, a sitting room in the family residence, is a space of warm light and comfort. Its windows offer a stunning view of the Washington Monument and the National Mall. In the late afternoon, the sun pours in, bathing the yellow silk walls and antique furnishings in a rich, honeyed glow. A vase of fresh flowers from the garden sits on a side table, their scent subtle in the quiet air. This room becomes a place for private conversations, for reading, for watching the changing light over the capital city. The solarium on the third floor is perhaps the most informal and sun-filled space. With its wicker furniture, glass walls, and views of the sky, it feels like a treehouse. Here, the First family can truly relax, surrounded by plants and personal mementos. On a weekend morning, the room is bright and cheerful, a perfect spot for coffee and the Sunday papers. The sound of the city is a distant hum, far below. It is a sanctuary above the formalities of state. Hillary Clinton's official office in the East Wing is a room of focused activity. It is decorated practically, with a large desk, bookshelves filled with policy binders, and comfortable chairs for visitors. A portrait of Eleanor Roosevelt hangs on one wall, a quiet nod to history. The light from a window falls across the desk, illuminating pages of notes for a speech or a plan for a healthcare initiative. The atmosphere is one of purposeful calm, a center for the work she championed on children's health, women's rights, and historic preservation. The White House gardens are another realm of peace. The Rose Garden, just outside the Oval Office, is a structured symphony of color and fragrance. Early in the morning, when the dew is still on the petals, a gardener tends to the blooms. The Jacqueline Kennedy Garden is more secluded, a hidden rectangle of lawn and flowering borders, a perfect place for a quiet walk. In these outdoor spaces, one can momentarily forget the weight of office and simply appreciate the cycle of seasons, the bloom of a rose, the flight of a bird to a feeder. State dinners and official events fill the grand rooms downstairs with light and music, but the quieter moments are more telling. A late-night walk down the long, carpeted center hall of the residence, with portraits of past presidents gazing solemnly from the walls. The soft glow of a lamp from under a bedroom door. The view from a window during a gentle snowfall, which blankets the gardens and monuments in a hush of white. For 8 years, this monumental building was also a home, a backdrop to a family's life, its private corners holding the soft, ordinary light of everyday existence. A new chapter begins in the year 2001 in a different building of great import. The United States Capitol stands on a hill, its great dome a constant presence on the Washington skyline. Hillary Rodham Clinton is now the junior senator from New York. Her personal office in the Russell Senate Office Building is a blend of history and function. The hallway leading to it is quiet, lined with marble and dark wood, the footsteps of staffers muffled by long runners of carpet. The office itself is a room of warm wood paneling and tall windows that look out onto a courtyard or a city street. Bookshelves are packed with legislative reports, biographies, and books on New York history. A large desk dominates one side, its surface organized but busy with papers, a computer, and family photos in simple frames. A comfortable sofa and chairs form a seating area where visitors from across New York State might meet their senator. The light in the late afternoon is particularly beautiful, slanting across the room and illuminating the dust in the air. The Senate chamber is the formal heart of the work. When not in session, it is a vast, silent space. Rows of mahogany desks curve in arcs under the soft light of the chamber's chandeliers. The deep green leather of the chairs is worn smooth by generations of use. A senator might sit alone at her desk, reviewing the text of a bill, the silence profound and weighty. The history of the room is palpable in the quiet, a sense of slow deliberation and long-term consequence. Much of a senator's life, however, is spent in motion. The underground tram that connects the Senate offices to the Capitol glides silently through its tunnels, a brief, quiet journey between meetings. Hearing rooms in committee offices are spaces of focused testimony where the light from overhead fixtures shines down on polished wooden tables. Hillary Clinton served on committees for armed services, environment, and health. In these rooms, complex issues are broken down into hours of detailed discussion, a quiet, persistent engine of governance. New York State, her constituency, became a second landscape to know intimately. This meant long drives upstate, through the Hudson Valley awash in autumn color, or flights to Buffalo where winter light glinted off Lake Erie. Town hall meetings were held in community centers, libraries, and school auditoriums. In one such library, in a small upstate town, she might listen to a farmer's concerns, the room filled with the soft, earnest light of a winter afternoon, shelves of books providing a silent, steadfast backdrop to the conversation. Evenings often returned to the office, a time for catching up on reading and correspondence. The building would grow still. The only sound might be the hum of a computer or the turning of a page. A desk lamp creates a pool of light on a briefing book about homeland security or economic development. Outside the window, the lights of Washington twinkle on, marking monuments and museums. In this quiet space, the work of representation continues, a steady commitment framed by the peaceful rhythm of day turning to night in the nation's capital. The world now becomes the stage. In 2009, Hillary Clinton takes the oath of office to become the 67th Secretary of State. Her workplace is the Harry S. Truman Building, the headquarters of the State Department. Its diplomatic reception rooms are among the most beautiful in Washington, filled with American antique furniture and classic art. But the true work extends far beyond these walls, to capitals and conference rooms across the globe. This chapter is painted in the varied light of early mornings in foreign cities, in the quiet interiors of airplanes, and in the gardens of embassies. The Secretary's office on the 7th floor is a spacious room with a commanding view. The decor is professional, with flags standing in the corners and a large map on one wall. The desk is tidy, a symbol of order amidst a schedule of constant travel. Early morning light often finds her here, preparing for the day with her senior staff, the coffee cups on the conference table steaming gently. The atmosphere is one of calm preparation before engaging with the complex tapestry of international relations. Travel is a constant. The Secretary's plane, a modified Boeing 757, becomes a familiar space. Inside, the cabin is configured with a conference area, offices, and seating. During long night flights over oceans, the interior lights are dimmed. A single reading lamp might be on as she reviews briefing papers, the world outside a blanket of darkness speckled with stars. The hum of the engines is a steady, soothing sound, a lullaby for diplomacy in motion. Embassies around the world serve as outposts of calm and American presence. The garden of the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo is a serene Japanese landscape of raked gravel, moss, and carefully placed stones. In London, the ambassador's residence boasts a grand, flower-filled garden in spring. In these spaces, between official meetings, a moment of reflection is possible. The light is different in each place: the sharp, clear light of Jerusalem, the humid, golden haze of Bangkok, the soft, gray light of London, each casting its own peaceful mood. Diplomacy often happens in quiet, ornate rooms. A palace in Riyadh, where sunlight filters through intricate latticework, casting patterned shadows on marble floors. A conference center in Geneva, where delegates talk beside large windows overlooking a lake. A hotel suite in Beijing, where early morning tea is served as the city awakens outside. The conversations in these rooms are earnest and layered, but the settings themselves are often masterpieces of architecture and light, designed to inspire a sense of stability and grace. Through it all, the goal is a peaceful world. The work is in the patient building of relationships, the careful drafting of agreements, the quiet listening to allies and adversaries alike. There are town hall meetings with embassy staff in crowded cafeterias, their faces lit by fluorescent lights, full of questions about service. There are walks through historic markets, a brief immersion in the daily life of a country. These moments, away from the headlines, form the subtle texture of foreign policy. As her tenure concludes, one might recall an image of a departing flight at sunset. The plane lifts off from an airport in Europe or Asia, climbing into the stratosphere where the sky is a deep indigo. Below, the lights of the city glitter like scattered jewels. Inside the aircraft, the work continues, but there is also a moment to look out at the vast, peaceful curvature of the earth. It is a perspective that reinforces the scale of the endeavor and the enduring hope for a more connected, tranquil global community. Our final scene is not one of conflict or campaign frenzy, but of a quiet, profound moment inside a vast convention hall. It is the evening of July 26, 2016, at the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. The Wells Fargo Center is filled with thousands of people, but we focus on a backstage area, a space of hushed anticipation before history steps into the light. The hall itself is a sea of blue and rippling flags, but the backstage is a corridor of calm, lit by practical work lights that cast soft, even illumination. Hillary Clinton stands in a holding area, perhaps reviewing her speech notes one final time. The sounds of the crowd are a distant roar, muffled by the walls. The space around her is simple: concrete floors, exposed beams, the functional machinery of a major event. But in this quiet corner, a small circle of family and closest advisors stands with her. The light is gentle, forgiving. It is a personal moment of reflection at the culmination of a very public life. She has just become the first woman to receive the presidential nomination of a major American political party. The weight of that history is immense, but the moment itself is intimate. She might adjust the cuff of her suit jacket, a simple white piece chosen for the visual statement it would make. A makeup artist gives a final, barely their touch. The atmosphere is one of focused serenity, a deep breath before the walk to the podium. The noise of the crowd seems to fade even further into the background. Then, the walk down the long ramp towards the stage. The ramp is lined with supporters, their faces glowing with excitement, but the camera might pull back to show the journey from above, a single figure moving through a tunnel of light and shadow toward a brilliant, illuminated opening. The journey is metaphorical, a quiet walk through the annals of American history that had always been walked by men. Her pace is steady, composed, a study in calm determination. The speech itself, delivered to a roaring arena, is a matter of public record. But for our quiet story, we hold the image of the aftermath. Later that night, after the balloons have fallen and the crowds have dissipated, the hall is empty and still. Cleaning crews move slowly under the house lights, their soft shuffling the only sound. The stage, now bare, still holds the ghost of the moment. A single forgotten placard reading Hillary rests on a chair. The quiet is absolute, a peaceful closure to a historic day. The significance of the night would be analyzed and debated. But in the realm of quiet history, it was a milestone reached. It was about a little girl from Park Ridge who grew up to stand on that stage. It was about the countless quiet hours of study, of listening, of work in offices and classrooms and meeting halls across decades. All those moments led to this one. The journey was the story, the peaceful mornings, the thoughtful evenings, the steady accumulation of experience under the gentle light of countless days. And so, we leave the story here, with an image of an empty, peaceful convention hall after history has passed through. The work lights cast long, soft shadows across the empty floor. The world outside is dark and quiet. A chapter closed, but the quiet journey of history continues, always unfolding, one calm, deliberate step at a time. It is a reminder that even the loudest milestones are built upon a foundation of countless silent, steadfast moments.